The Invisible Man. Oh, the Invisible Man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Invisible Man. My name is Mark Davis Sallard, and with me, of course, as usual, Ryan Jans. Top left there, his middle name is also David, but he doesn't use it even though he should. And of course, the great and the wonderful, legendary Colorado Phil.
Hey everybody!
And I'm going to change the screen there because it looks like we are having trouble seeing people. There we go.
Oh,
Cutting
yeah.
people off. So, also with us today is our very special guests, Tom, Enroth, and Matt Westerlund, also known as the Secret Weasels, from St. Paul, Minnesota. They describe themselves as a multimedia concern who have made at least three short films and 2 full-length albums. And their latest album, Misophonia, was released in April of this year, and they say it is their finest achievement. But I say we'll be the judge of that. So welcome.
Welcome, you guys.
Welcome, Matt and
Thank
Tom.
you. How you doing?
Thanks for having us on.
Doing well. So
Well, I'm pretty pumped that you guys are on. This is great. Viewers of this show, I just want to jump in first and say, whoever's watching, when you're watching live, don't forget to share the video as many places as you can think of. And jump in the comments if you have something to say, a thought or a question for our guests or ourselves. And we'll try to catch them.
Yeah,
we'll do our best. We usually try and acknowledge people who have been either joining us or following us either for a while, or if you're a first-time listener. And we do occasionally, so this is fair warning for our wonderful guests, the Secret Weasels. Sometimes we do get audience participation and questions. So
Great.
Excellent.
it might keep you on your toes a little bit. Chances are we might not, but it's a possibility. So,
Well, our toes are ready to be on, so we're good to go. They're fully functioning toes.
There we go.
that's good news.
You
Walking would be difficult if they were.
didn't lose any to frostbite up there, huh?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
A couple more months.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh. I'm going to be right back up there
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Or Winnipeg, the guys up in Winnipeg, they'll be freezing their stuff too. We're all in
Yeah.
temperate climates.
Yes. Yeah, the
That's one way to put it.
we have the
So we can talk about how you guys understand exactly what it means when you've had like 8 months of snow, and how spring doesn't start stop.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks
That's
of
actually-
summer in the fall.
That's what it did this year.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, it warmed up, cooled down, warmed up, cooled down. It was actually a real spring.
Yeah. But
I think they credit that for not having a big flood, huh?
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
A lot
you
better.
guys, the Red River of the North, right? That's what usually floods for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to shout out just the audience. Pauline Santoro has joined us, says good afternoon, everyone. Ron Zaragoza has joined us. He's asking, how are things in Colorado and Canada? So here it's surprisingly warm.
It's really hot today in Colorado. 92 degrees Fahrenheit, 33 degrees Celsius.
Michelle Hyatt is asking if there's the Secret Weasel thing, but I guess that was before you guys were on the screen. Yeah, yes, it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Michelle.
Yeah, those are the comments so far. So we'll go back to the comments in a little bit. Do you have anyone you want to shout out there, Ryan?
No. Nobody. None of my regulars have joined us right now.
You mean there are hundreds and hundreds? They just are not chatting yet, right?
It's generally my wife, and she just walked my makeshift studio up here in our bedroom with my little toddler daughter, taking her to the bathroom, which is about her 3rd time coming out of her instead of napping. So that tells me I'm talking too loud and she can hear me through the wall. So if I start talking like really quiet like this,
I'll really try not to swear.
We can talk
I'm
about
trying to be productive here, guys. I'm just trying not to wake up a toddler. So.
Okay. So I'm really curious. I'm going to ask you the obvious question. Why did you pick the name Secret Weasels?
we ask ourselves that same question all the
sometimes daily. Well, this was about, when was it? 97?
Yeah,
96, 97, and we had a previous band that had fallen apart. We had a 4-piece singer, drummer, me on bass, Matt on guitar, and that fell apart. First the drummer left, and then we fired the singer. And we were both kind of at places in our careers where there seemed to be at our workplaces an inordinate amount of weaseling going on. Everybody was all these little nefarious schemes going on, and we had pages and pages of band names like bands do, and we came up with it one night, and
it was just the funniest.
Yeah,
name of all of them, and so.
And we just pictured like a similar cover to the Replacements album, "Don't Tell a Soul." You know, only we were going to call the album "Shh." And then Secret Weasels was about the funniest thing. And we laughed. God, we laughed so hard. And then the next day, we kept laughing. And then we just thought, well, let's just do that. I mean, it's mildly disarming. And what were we going to do? Come up with some pretentious name? It just works. It makes us laugh.
We may still change it.
We might, yeah.
We're still looking for a better one.
The coronavirus.
That's pretty good one.
4 years later, it's still, it's touch and go.
I think that's a pretty good one. I mean, that's my measure of how, if I know a band's gonna last. When we'll you do like your half a dozen rehearsals and you like start to gel together, and then it comes time to name the band, and that's usually when everything just goes right. As soon as you name the band, and Mark and I now, how long have we been playing together, Mark, or doing stuff together creatively?
About 8 years, 7 years, I think.
Oh wow!
Cool. So we survived the naming.
Yeah, we went through a few different versions of the name, because I was a solo act, and then Ryan and I met, and it turns out he's a bass player, so I invited him to come to do a show with me, and then it was Mark Stallard with Ryan Jans on bass, and then it was that seemed a bit silly because we were playing all the time. It was Mark David Stallard and Ryan Jans, and then it's like we were starting to then play clubs and pubs and stuff. We kind of lost our roots a bit because we're really a small venue group, right? And it was like, okay, well, we can start playing in pubs, but we need a drummer. So, okay, well, if we're getting a drummer in, we need a band name. And and you'll see the design behind me. That was actually while I was trying to figure out some ideas for the band. One of them was I really like the Beatles movie Yellow Submarine, and I thought, the Sea of Holes would be a great band name. And then I started doing these designs with these holes. And then I realized people are going to call us the Holes. And I thought we need something else.
I vaguely recall having this discussion with you.
I can't do that. Like, and then I think that It's All in the Mind just happened to be the one we settled on because it was the only good name left.
Well, I think some of it too is when we were writing, we were starting to write a little bit more cerebrally and a little bit more, like, much more thought process going into it. So it just fit. And I remember Mark came over for rehearsal and he's like, I came up with a band name. I'm like, okay, let's hear it. Because I haven't come up with anything. Everything I've come up with is total trash. And he's like, It's All in the Mind. I was like, that's it. I love it. I love it. And in a minute, I could see, like, because it's one of those names where you can use it as like, your band's first self-titled album. You could have this album name here by It's All in the Mind, and it's good. I was like, it's perfect. Instead of something like, the next best band I've ever played in, the name, and we didn't last long, but it was called the Screamin' Fleas. Like, that is just like the best.
That's a good name.
You want something that's kind of ambiguous, so nobody can really pin you down by your name, like you're that type of band or you're this type of band.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have kind of a wide open thing that evokes a lot of different possibilities.
And that was the Secret Weasels. You don't know what kind of music that is,
because it's a secret.
That was very Weasley. Right.
Quiet. I'm hunting rabbits without a gun.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
That was. It just made us laugh. It still does.
Great. That's a good reason.
Good a reason as any.
So
We've
you,
made a lot of bad decisions on whether things make
Make
us
us
laugh
laugh.
or not.
Maybe too many.
Maybe too many. Yeah, but it's an important consideration that goes into everything.
yeah. How long have you guys been playing music? You've obviously been together since '97, but when did your interests in music? I mean, I guess there's a different answer from both of you, but where did you get your start in music?
You want to go first or should I?
Oh well, you go
All right.
first.
6th grade, I think, I started playing the flute. And then I didn't really like the flute, so I switched to the saxophone. Stuck with that through high school. Learned to play organ in church, actually, and translated that to other keyboards, and then picked up my first guitar, I think, when I was 19. And then that kind of became my main thing for a long time, was guitar, but I always like to switch back and forth. So,
That's cool.
yeah, junior high band.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, was it one of those things that you loved doing at the junior high?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
did,
really
okay.
did. So I was in the marching band. I was in jazz band.
Okay.
We had a wind ensemble in my high school, so I played in all of those.
Yeah, we got one. I think we had to force the kids to do music stuff, which is kind of sad, but yeah, they didn't really enjoy it.
No, I love it.
Old school or what, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to play guitar as a kid, and I had one in 4th grade, and I tried playing it, and it just didn't work out. And then when I eventually, my dad, one of my stepmom's cousins, was a bass player in a kind of local band where I grew up, and he said, you should take bass lessons. I don't know why my dad decided this, but he did. And so I got a bass when I was in 9th grade. I started playing then. And it really, that made more sense to me. And then later, when I was in my early 20s, I got an acoustic guitar that was a decent one, that was a relative's, and started trying to figure out how to write songs on that. And so and then have progressed on that. And I have a synth that I try and make noises.
You make noises.
Yeah, it sounds mostly like a small animal being tortured. But
Like for weasels?
Yeah.
No.
And then, Matt got into ukulele, and so I kind of did too. And but really, I think of myself as a bass player, and I use the guitar to write songs. But
Go bass, bro.
yeah.
Bass players unite.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. I've heard stories.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're a drummer and we speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up and slow down. So,
Yeah, there's that.
But we
So,
got
and then Matt and I met the old-fashioned way. There was a newspaper in the Twin Cities, a free weekly called the City Pages, and
Still exists.
Still exists, only nobody reads it anymore. And the whole back page used to be, the back section was all musicians wanted and dates too, right? Wasn't there a single section there too?
There was.
And so I found an ad for the band that he had that was looking for a bass player, and so that was when that first band that we were talking about earlier came together. And then when that fell apart, he and I just realized that what we were trying to do, he and I see eye to eye, like 90%, 85 to 90% of the time. And it just makes things really easy. We have a very similar idea on how things should sound, but we don't write things the same way. We each have a unique voice as far as our songwriting is concerned. So anyway, that's sort of it. But so we just decided to stick together, and here we are today.
So how do you find, with the different styles and different approaches to songwriting, how do you find the co-writing material together?
We do a lot of writing sort of individually and then bring it together to work on, bringing it to its final form. That seems to be, I don't know, I tend to, I'll just be sitting around with the guitar or with the keyboard and kind of find my way into something and write it and get a rough version of it down and send it to Tom, and he'll kind of or put his ideas into it. And so that's kind of how at least the ones I write go. And,
Yeah. Well, you've done that for me too. We do things and then say, oh, maybe this lyric doesn't work, you should rewrite it. Or like some of the songs on on Misophonia, for example, the song "Lost in Time Always," we were doing that. I went to do my background vocal. I sang it in a way. Originally, the lead vocal was really low.
Mhm.
It had a lot of distortion on it. And then after I put my background vocal on it, Matt said, "Oh, I'm going to do this differently to go with the melody that you sang on that." Another example on the new album is a song called "The Violence of Love," where I didn't know what to do during the verse. So I hummed a part and he didn't like it. See, that's the other thing, is sometimes one of us will do something, the other one won't like it, but we'll turn it into something. So he actually turned my humming into the trombone line that's heard during the verse part. So we sort of do things like that where somebody will say, "Oh," and then it sort of sparks that way. And then at the end, it sounds like us, and it doesn't sound like
Either of us
either
individually,
one of
yeah.
us individually.
Well, so it sounds like quite an organic, quite an organic way of working together.
Yeah, for something that's done in basements and
your cabin.
and my cabin and the upstairs bedroom, it does work where we're not always in a room together. It does have a very organic feel. So which is, I guess we're lucky. It could all just sound very metronomic and calculated. And I don't think anything we've ever done is.
I don't know if I'm a good enough musician to have it metronome.
Yeah, there's that too. So that's what brings the feel.
Right.
Our collective incompetence.
And there's our second band name.
or the next album next album.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
We have no shortage of
we have
album
a
titles.
list. Listen, every time one of us says something vaguely witty, it goes in. What are we up to? Like 10 out. I'll write that one down, and we got this huge list of whatever the third album is going to be called. But yeah, seriously, we're insane.
Good, man. All good.
Hey, you guys, I wanted to jump in and let you know that my two favorite Weasel song, I've Got It Made,
Yeah.
and your new one, Go Away.
Oh,
Very
thank you.
cool.
Yeah.
I really get a kick out of that one. You can even sing to it, to all of it. It's cool.
Yeah, that was that song. Interestingly enough, that "Go Away" is old. That was, I think of that because I like to think of things in terms of music. I think of that as the first Secret Weasels song. We after the other bands fell apart, I think that was the first original.
That was the first one we recorded
Yeah,
after that.
and we had a demo of it, which you can actually find on YouTube, on my YouTube station, that we recorded in '97. And
Tascam 4-track.
yeah, and it sounds horrible, and the guitar solo is really bizarre, and it took us forever to. And then when we were doing Misophonia, we said, well, it turned into kind of this joke where we had 16 songs, and then we had this for a while. We thought we would call it Exile and Weasel. So then we needed 18 songs because we were going to say that it was a response to Liz Phair's, Exile in Guyville, which was a response to Exile on Main Street. So, because we, like I said, do things that make us laugh. And then we said, well, we need 18 songs. And so Matt pulled out
one old one. I don't know.
Run Before Sundown.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've done years ago. And then I said, well, why don't we do, or you actually said, why don't we do Go Away? Let's do a good recording of that. So we threw that out. But yeah, I'm really glad you like it. Actually, that was another example of collaboration. The original second verse lyrics, which I don't remember, you didn't like. And you said, rewrite them. So and this was years ago. I remember driving home and I thought of the second verse while driving home from work. To replace the one that you didn't like.
Remember
yeah,
that.
that's true. So we say things like that to each other. This verse is lousy. Rewrite it.
Yeah, I have a rule. I've had a rule for a long time. Is if we're working together and one person doesn't like it, we don't do it.
Yeah,
that's a good rule.
And there's no arguments. I mean, you can defend it, but if the answer is no, we move on. As actually was one of the songs that we do regularly, which is probably one of the two most popularly regularly requested songs Games used to play in my previous life in the old country, my partner didn't like it. So it was like, okay, fine, we'll drop it. But it's one of our most popular songs, though. So I knew it was good. But that's all right. If you
found its time and place, huh?
yeah, and if you don't, if someone's not going to enjoy it, there's no point pushing for a particular. People know you're not enjoying it when you're up there playing in front of people.
Yeah, and I think we're both honest enough with each other that,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think we let things go.
I don't let my feelings get hurt.
Yeah. And usually, whichever one of us is pointing out a deficiency,
You're usually right.
Yeah. We're not too long. It's like that.
Yeah, and also I'm prolific enough that if you don't like one thing, I'm sure I got something else you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how he is. Matt writes a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm more when time to do an album, I'll sit down and write however many songs we've agreed upon that will be the final number for the album.
Yeah, we had. I've had over the years you have the comments. Well, you want to make sure you copyright everything. You know, what if a big label steals your song? And my response is, great, people are listening to my music. And, and give me a week, I'll write another one. I can live with that one, you know.
Yeah.
So that's never really bothered me.
Yeah.
So it'd just be nice to have people listening to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you released April the 1st, 2020, Misophonia.
Yes.
Was that a joke?
Yes.
April the 1st.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
that was intentional. Yeah, we came up with that date. When did we come up with it?
I know we were debating. We kept pushing it off.
It was done. We were done recording by the end of last year, and then we had a hard time mixing it because we wanted it to sound really good. And when you're doing everything by yourself, things take a long time. So we test mastered. We bought some more plugins, Waves, Abbey Road series. It's the only way to go, man. And then we were eventually getting down. We thought, well, what should we do? Should we wait for? Were we also thinking June 1st?
I don't remember thinking about June.
Oh, okay. Actually, the initial plan was we wanted it to come out in 2019 because both Matt and I turned 50. We're the same age, and we wanted that we thought we're turning 50. We're going to create this big, ridiculous 18-song album, and if you can't be self-indulgent for your 50th birthday, when can you be?
Maybe for your 60th.
Maybe for your 60th, right? We'll see you in 10 years. And then we just
ouch.
and we thought, no, I didn't know how I'm just saying that we'll talk to you soon.
Phil's old.
So then we just thought, well, April Fool's Day seems like a good idea. It seems like appropriate, you know, and we just put it out, and people seem to like it.
That's good. So why the name Misophonia? It's isn't that sounds that make you go crazy?
Yeah, it's a intense frustration or anger at certain sounds. Usually, like if you hear somebody chewing and you can't get past the fact that they're chewing loudly in the movie theater while you're trying to watch the movie, or sitting across the table from you and snapping on something. Or I worked back when we named the band, I worked kitty corner in a cube from a guy who every day at 10 o'clock had carrot and cracker time. And I'd be sitting in the cube and all I'd hear is this. Drove me nuts. And so, I don't know, when I discovered the name for what that frustration is, it seemed good. And it also seemed like, well, and in case our music annoys people in that same way.
Well, and it's also, you know, artists, right? You guys, eventually you hate everything you create. And so the thought,
or at least you go through a phase.
And you don't want to hear it anymore. And after mixing for 6 months, we didn't. It just seemed like it was an appropriate comment on that phenomenon. Whereas an artist, you just eventually grow to hate everything that you love. And how else can you express it about something?
There's days where I feel that way about the Colorado Phil show.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm forever thinking, how can I tweak it?
Yeah.
And I identify myself as an artist. Like, that's the way my thought process is. Like, how can I tweak it as in a color, change the color a little bit. Let's see what happens. And I hit a plateau there for a while, and now I'm falling back into that. Like, wow. So I have made a few changes on the fly too.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce that name again?
Misophonia.
Misophonia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So we and then the album cover was done by a local artist here in the Twin Cities, and she actually did the paintings for the first album cover as well. The first album cover, she painted 12 individual paintings, photographed.
Wow.
Yeah, they're 12 paintings. They're oil on,
like 1 by 1.
They're 1 foot by 1 foot, or 13. Actually, they're like 13 inches by 13 inches or something weird. And they're oil on masonite. And she painted 12 in one for each song. And Matt photographed them, and then we composited them. And this one, she said, "I'm not going to do so many things." And so we're fine, you don't, Sophia, you don't.
It would have been more. It would have been 18.
Yeah, exactly. So she just came up with that idea, and she had an original concept that she sent to us that we liked, and then she just couldn't pull it off. And she wanted to paint what she named Sophia Morissette. She's really good. So sort of we think of it. The other thing is
Sophia Morissette or Morissette, right? Morissette.
Yeah, Morissette.
Sophia Morissette for anybody who's looking for an album cover.
Yeah, and we think of her as our Hypnosis, which was a company that did, for example, the UFO album covers. They did some stuff with the Humans. They did
a lot.
Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they did Led Zeppelin's Presence, and I think they did it through the Outdoor Pink Floyd. So she's sort of our what was his name? Storm Thurgeson or something like that. Anyway,
I'll leave it to your man.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Great album cover designer.
Stormy Daniels? What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
yeah.
Wrong industry. Wrong industry.
Should have had
It's
that.
independent.
We really had, and then we decided on the border. The border was our idea, and if you look at it, should I tell them what inspired the? Well, it sort of has a '70s feel to it, and that was what we wanted, was the transitional colors in the border.
Nice.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah.
It's a great album cover.
Yeah, and it looks good small, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's still eye-catching even when it's only 1 inch by 1 inch, which is also helpful. But full size. Oh yeah. Well, you can kind of see it in the background. We did a couple 12 by 12 prints of the first and second album cover behind us.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, they look really good. If vinyl wasn't so cost prohibitive, we probably would have had some limited edition vinyl.
Well, and you know what?
When Bean shows up, as we said earlier.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good because it does capture that orange and sort of transition to navy. That's a very 1970s kind of motif, and just that oil texture, like that. That to me, I was like, oh man, that's great. That looks like something I would have picked out of at a record store. Like that looks like a cover,
that was it too.
right?
We wanted something where in the old days when people would be flipping through albums, if you saw it, you would.
I bought plenty of albums based on the cover.
Yeah.
Had a cool cover.
Right.
Yeah,
You didn't know the band, and you
exactly.
picked it up and took it home.
Wow, what's this?
Yeah,
That's weird.
and but the thing about that is it's so brilliant. It would, I can see that as a CD. I can see that as like one of those eighth inch or quarter inch tape, like cassette tapes.
Oh, sure.
cover. And I can see it because obviously we did some. You always have to research your guests, and so I did listen to some of your music on Google Play because that's where my subscription system is, right? And it looks great on my screen, right? So like hats off to you guys. That's a really great, like a great cover, like a great album cover. It translates well, and it would translate well to all media. So tip my hat to the Secret Weasels and to Sophia Morissette for creating a great transitional piece between multi types of media. Well done.
She did a great job.
Great there. We'll take a quick break here. We're going to say hello to a couple of people here. Catherine McGui who's joining us all the way from Northern England or Ireland. Pardon me.
Nope.
Long time.
No, she's in Fleetwood in England. She's from Omagh.
And she's that's right.
From
Yes.
Omagh. Oh, yeah, I guess.
I'm sorry, Catherine. I will get it right one day.
He's a bass
Your
player.
name properly.
He's a bass player.
He's a bass player.
Just stick him in the back line. And of course, my lovely wife Jessica has joined us now. So,
and
back to the back line there, Ryan.
And Michelle Hyatt. Apparently, we did not say hello when she joined. So hi. I think that.
Hi Michelle.
I think that we were
Hello,
posting
Michelle.
hellos there, and she got missed. So sorry,
I
Michelle.
went to kindergarten in first grade with her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And
And Michelle is apparently getting a kick out of our Canadian accents. So
What
I'll tell you
Canadian?
what, here, I'll give you a quick tour of Canada, okay? Going from the East Coast. So there by here, we're gonna head out in the bars there, go get hauling in there. That's the East Coast. Then you got the hey there, this is down here in Toronto. Hey, we're gonna go down to the hardware store, hop in a car and head on down there. We're gonna fix up some things around the house, and then we'll hit up the bar later. Right, so it's sort of a little bit of a that.
I don't think so.
Now, Mr. Phil, can you give us a francophone? Can you say?
I don't know. I mean, some people have said they can hear a French Canadian accent. I really don't hear it.
Well, that's okay. Mark
That's
doesn't understand that we
fine.
hear an accent from him, but that's okay.
yes, well, I have the Winnipeg accent, obviously. Jolly good. Yes, rather.
Well, then there's the Winnipeg accent, which isn't too far off from how you guys speak.
Oh yeah.
But then we do get a couple people there from Fargo way. So,
Don't even get me started on that one, man.
and then you get some prairie people. The Canadian rednecks are like the best because they're like, oh yeah, so it's so I was come on in down there, and I went down there to Tim Hortons, and so I went and got me a double and went on down there to the hockey arena. I'm gonna watch the game. I'm gonna watch the boys play AAA hockey there, and then we're gonna hit up the local bar there, and then we'll head home, get a couple of beer or something like that. That's a very Canadian prairie. That's someone who spent way too much time talking to his wheat or yelling at his radio in the comments.
Grow!
You talk to your wheat?
Grow!
I don't even bother with and that's Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan has people like that. Manitoba has people like that.
Hey, I just want to jump in with a commercial for the Invisible Man. There's people watching, so it's a good time to say it. If you haven't subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, come on down. The link is it's everywhere right now. If they're watching.
Easiest way to get there is just go to the invisibleman.ca, and there's a link on the top.
Hey, there you go. I was gonna throw that one in too.
Yeah.
We do enjoy a lot of stuff from Canada. We're big Kids in the Hall fans. Huge.
I'm squishing your
head.
head.
Here we go.
And Bob and Doug, obviously, big time. That was when you watched
Mackenzie
SCTV.
Brothers.
Yeah, SCTV. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Corner gas. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Mark McKinney
that
lives.
stuff still makes me laugh, man. And once a year, I will watch Strange Brew, and I will laugh myself into hysterics. That it just like I have their album on vinyl. I got it as a sixth grade graduation present, I think, from my mom. I still have it. Yeah.
You needed a present after graduating from sixth grade.
Well, yeah.
Good job, Tom.
I still
Well, here you can listen to Bob and Doug sing the 12 days of Christmas, and it's on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a beer.
Yeah. and for all the Rush fans out there, the charting single that Geddy Lee was ever on was Take Off. That's your little piece of trivia. That charted higher than any Rush single. Higher than Tom Sawyer. Higher than Limelight. Take Off. So there's your little piece of trivia for today.
You know strange things.
I know a lot of strange things.
Good, man. I'm just thrilled that somebody else likes Rush.
Well, we're casual Rush fans. So. which I know that
I'm going to say, of course, you're going to be a Rush fan because Geddy Lee's a bass player and a lead singer.
Oh yeah.
So obviously,
The first single I ever bought was Tom Sawyer. I still have the picture sleeve. That was the
Nice.
first 45 I ever bought. Yeah.
You should frame that.
It's sitting on my dresser actually.
Oh.
It's got little inserts of the three of them, like Geddy, Alex, and I took a picture of it. It's on our Instagram when Neil died. Yeah. All right. Well, we brought that to a screeching.
and on that high note,
Yeah.
You know what? I saw something here that kind of surprised me. Maybe if I drag it in front of me instead, turning my
Head.
my radio face away from the camera. Pop star Lady Gaga's Chromatica is the #1 album in the US. Do you know what? That makes me realize I have no. I said I wouldn't swear.
Yeah,
go for it.
you can have one.
No, I have no fucking idea what the top 5 is or the top 10.
Yeah.
Because ever since I started doing the show, I don't listen to that stuff anymore. I mean, I'd rather go see Secret Weasels. It's All in the Mind. Atlanta Jeffries from Winnipeg. You know, Johnny Got Rocks. I could go on and on, literally.
Johnny got a lot. Yeah.
And I have no idea what happens on real radio.
Well, I mean, let's look at it just sort of in this sense, and I think it brings back this sort of idea of I saw this on the Punk's Not Dead documentary that came out like I don't know, was it 15 years ago or something like that. You had Henry Rollins, and he's like he's talking about going, you know, he's a young guy and he's right in the 70s 80s punk sort of explosion there. And he's talking about how he gets to go, you know, jam into these clubs and gets to go see these bands that he kind of idolizes, and he gets to stand up right next to the stage. And then he's like, well, that kind of makes Peter Frampton sitting in the back row of Peter Frampton live at the stadium.
Yeah, the normal.
You're not going to be back there very, very frequently, right?
Yeah.
Even though, you know, Peter Frampton's an amazing player and Lady Gaga is an amazing singer and is
Yes, I'll say that much.
in her own respect. But it's like when you get to go to a small independent pub and you get to go, you see, oh hey, that's the Secret Weasels. I have their album of theirs, and then they come up to you and say like, hey, you know what? I really like this album, and this really was cool, and I like the way you guys performed it on stage, and it's, you know, and then you guys can respond.
Then they hear it on the Colorado Phil show.
Yeah,
Hakuna Matata.
it's a different experience as opposed to like saying, oh, I have to win backstage passes just to be able to get to a room where I can watch her walk down the hallway. Like, no, that's not it, right? Whereas like, you know, you go see us in the play at one of like Shannon's in Winnipeg is a great place for independent music to play, right? And you can come up to us after and buy us a beer.
Yeah.
And we can talk music, we can talk whatever, right? It's a totally different experience from the main pop, and regardless, right? Taylor Swift was top of the heap for a while. She's talented. She got there, obviously, right? But is it my style of music?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
But you know, it's just a different respect. So if I want to go see Taylor Swift, I got to go spend like $80 on a ticket to get really crappy.
Oh yeah.
seats.
Well, actually, it was more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. I'm shelling out a boatload of money to get crappy seats, whereas I could go see an independent artist who I might really be affected by, and I'm just paying $10 to get in the bar. And then I'm supporting the local bar. I'm supporting the local musician, right? So it's
Won't it be nice when we can go back to that, huh?
Well, we saw they're not local, they're international, but when we saw Band of Skulls at the Fine Line, they after the show they hung out by the merch table and we got to talk to them, and that was really cool. That was an excellent show. So sometimes even, I mean, not that the Fine Line is it's a good sized club, but sometimes even international bands will you know, kind of take the time to you know, be with their fans, which.
But I find like I started working with Load in Winnipeg in 2013 or something like that. So I've been in independent music a lot. That's probably where that's where I stopped listening to mainstream radio, actually, as I started discovering independent bands and artists, I don't see I gotta say it properly, right? You guys put your heart and soul into your albums, into everything that you do in your art. But when you're there live, you guys go into your own zones, and it's like I'm talking as a promoter. Like when I did the promotion for Kittenhead's tour.
Oh, sure.
Last year. They're all my friends, but once they're on stage, everybody's in their own zone, giving 110%.
Yeah.
To everybody there, even though it's 20 or whatever,
Yeah.
That's an experience. That's actually how I came up with my photography stuff that I do at shows. Basically take pictures that make people, when they see it, say, "Wow, that's like when I was on the floor and I saw it from the floor."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I call them at the show. It blows my mind. So why would listen to regular radio? I don't know, but
Well,
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, and that's an experience you don't get when you're watching a band on the screen from the back, and it's all echoey instead of
yeah.
The
And you
best big
pay
concert I
how
ever.
much to go to that big label band, right?
Yeah.
It's not cheap, and okay, I'm cheap, yeah, but people don't realize, like, okay, so they pay, let's say $10, $15 at the door, whatever. I think Kittenhead was $25 or something. You're gonna get a top shelf show because nobody's millionaires in the independent music artists. I haven't seen any yet.
There's that.
And they want the people in attendance to have the time of their lives, and they want to make a good impression so that after their set, they'll buy some of the merch there.
Yeah.
I saw that at so many shows. Like, if a band is really connecting with the audience that night, wow, the merch table is busy.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Well, no, I mean, the other
right?
thing about just the general pop scene is, I think if you're making music, you have a little less time to listen to it. So I think that sort of by design, we're probably a little more disconnected than the average fan, just because if you're going to
you have time,
to devote your time to one or the other. Yeah. So if you're going to spend 8 hours recording bass tracks, you don't have time to go out on the internet and search for random bands or consume, whatever is being put out there in the top, 10 or top 20. You got to do your own thing. It's good to look and go, poke your head up and go, oh, okay, this is going on. And then you go back to work,
Like, I'd be in real trouble if I suddenly became a DJ for weddings and banquets and stuff like that. Because I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Put my Tech 9 and all my Southern hip hop, whatever, maybe. Even there, it's all independent artists that I.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna spend money on something, go to a show, it'll be independent music. Well, because I'm cheap, but also, I mean, like I said, the merch is there. Like, people need to know, especially when we go back to some kind of semblance of the past. And maybe it won't be the same ever, I don't think. But
I don't know how long it's gonna take.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm craving it. You guys are probably craving it way more as musicians, but it's like I haven't been to a live show in so long.
Yeah, that's true.
And the prospects are not looking great so far.
Yeah, there's that.
But no, like, remember that when we go back to something as a semblance to that, where we can be at live shows, fucking listen to the show, yeah, but don't forget, go to the merch table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, because there was time working with Load, there was many times where I was the only one getting paid. Like, seriously, a few shows in Winnipeg there. And back then, when I started, the scene was really quiet. But you guys, I've been noticing it since, because I did the show and stuff. Winnipeg has a good scene.
Yep.
Wow, like I'm looking forward to being back there.
Yeah, I think we got 1,500 registered musicians.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
That's about right.
Wow. How many people are in Winnipeg? How big?
Yeah,
is
that's
the
well,
city?
that's all of Manitoba. It's about 1 million in the province, I think, so around that. There's about
Oh.
600,000
Yeah, we're
in the
sitting
city.
Winnipeg somewhere around
There's
700,000.
700 now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow! So that's bigger than
Yeah.
Minneapolis and St. Paul combined.
Huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Minneapolis is like 350,000. St. Paul's like 275 or something. That's the city itself. I mean, the metro area is
Yeah.
4 million,
4 million, but
Yeah,
two
yeah.
cities.
Whereas
Oh.
that 700,000 is right. That's everything. That's city
Oh, okay.
core, surrounding, because we have a couple of little towns that have sort of gotten absorbed right on the fringe and
Yeah.
sort of
Oh,
fringes
sure.
and stuff like that. So you're looking around 700,000.
We might need a road trip.
Yeah, we have to go up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yes,
you're
you do.
welcome.
I haven't been in Canada. Can't even think of the last time. Fishing. We've been fishing.
Oh yeah. What kind of fishing?
Walleyes on Rainy Lake, which is
Wow,
just
that's
right
okay.
over the border of Minnesota. Yeah, that's that was a long time ago. I have a cabin close to the border, but I haven't actually been in Canada probably since I was 12 or 13. I think.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, you'll have to come up, eh?
I think so.
That would be great. You have a. We'll wait till it goes. Everything opens up again.
Yeah.
We'll open for you guys. We'll warm
Yeah.
the crowd up for you.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, just want to.
Hey, you guys are talking. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, just take a quick break. Actually, just have some contact information where you can find the Secret Weasels stuff. Bandcamp.com. You can look for the Secret Weasels. You can buy the music on there as well. And,
Yes, and please do.
yes, please. And on Facebook, I would suggest you search for the Secret Weasels. That's a long name to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, we tried to get an actual
Yeah.
Secret Weasels. They wouldn't give it to us. I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
they're not popular enough. So
Yeah.
more-
Yeah, Facebook's usually not bad. YouTube is awful. Anyhow, that's another.
Oh
story.
yeah. We got lucky on Twitter and Instagram, but not so
Yeah.
much on Facebook.
And then and then talking of Twitter and Instagram, so at the Secret Weasels for Twitter and the _secret_ weasels.
Yes.
I did spell it right. Yes, okay. Not the Weasless as I was spelling earlier. Anyhow,
Secret Weasels.
there you go.
The Weasels.
I don't know why I was having so much trouble spelling that. Anyway.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about cottages and stuff. Did you hear about this? If you heard on the show, you might have. But there's this Italian village offering houses for $1,
I did hear that.
and man, well, how tempting would that be, huh?
Good.
But you have to renovate it within 3 years or something.
Hmm.
And there's a yearly insurance fee of $280 until the renovations are done. And if you buy it for $1 and you don't do it, you got a $22,000 fine, though. But
Oh, she better renovate
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if we sell a few albums, maybe we'll relocate
and
to
learn to
Italy.
speak Italian.
And learn to speak Italian.
Right. Another one that I had on the show. I picked these stories before coming on with you guys. There's a Canadian woman. She wasn't aware that her record-breaking lottery jackpot was a winner until her granddaughter actually phoned her and told her that she had won. And she's from British Columbia? No, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. $40.4 million.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. And the woman
Yes, it's like
she had forgotten about it, basically.
30 million, something like that. Wow. That's a lot of money.
Her granddaughter called her and said, "Hey, Grandma, somebody in Yellowknife won the jackpot." So I have no idea how many people are there, but apparently that was her. Can you imagine $40 million? And it's
Well,
so
I have a good imagination, Phil.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
You know, like especially I say this on the show because there's a lot of stories like this. It seems all of a sudden during this COVID thing in the last few months. Can you imagine the lesson, hopefully, that they learned? Most of them, they've said what they'll do with the money is make sure their mortgage is paid.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new vehicle, but they're going to keep some aside in case this shit happens again.
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
Right.
You know, what a relief. Like sometimes it's like 80,000, 50,000. It doesn't matter how much. Like, holy shit.
Either way, that buys a lot of toilet paper.
Right. That'll buy out a lot of shelves. Yeah.
If you can find it.
Even black market toilet paper. Guys selling it on the corner.
Okay, actually, we are, as we're getting close to the end here, I just want to, we are getting close to the end. I just want to put up some information on how you can get hold of us here at the show. Info at The Invisible Man. You can email. I get those. Any questions, comments, more information. We're on Facebook as It's All in the Mind Band and Colorado Phil Show.
Coffee.
And on Twitter, at MD Stallard. I'm not as active as Phil is, but Phil is Colorado Phil 1. And Phil, do you want to do a rundown on how people can get your show?
Sure. Weekday afternoons, 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. www.vwradio.co. And I had another story to share before we go. Did you hear about this? They found Bigfoot dens, possibly in the New York area.
What? And then what?
In the New York's Hudson Valley.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about Central Park. That's just people who can't afford rent anymore.
Yeah. No, isn't that cool though? They found these caves, and the story's on my show page on Facebook, which I need people to go like. The Colorado Phil Show. There's always a commercial coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and talking of commercials too. Talking of commercials, we don't get paid for this. We do this just for the love of it. But if you'd like to show your appreciation out there, then you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/It's All in the Mind. And I've got a children's book available online. Where's my camera up there? A Fighting Stance.
Nice.
There we go. A Fighting Stance. It's available books.mdstallard.com. That'll redirect to Lulu, where you can download the ebook or you get a hard copy. Anyhow.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about this today on my walk before the show with Ollie. If anybody heard the episode where I quoted some parts of a children's book. This one was called Brenda's Beaver Needs a Barber. Okay, so if anybody buys me that book, we'll start off with that book. And I'll read it on an episode of The Invisible Man at some point. Then we'll find another book and stuff like that after that. Because there's more. I looked them up that time. And wow, there's more.
Okay, and on that high note, that was pretty good. Well, we've been going for about an hour, give or take, so I think it's probably a decent spot to end there. Would love to have you guys back on because I felt like we only talked about half the stuff. We didn't even talk about your movie making and
yes, our award-winning movie career.
So we will get you back on at the very least to talk about that. If you'll come on,
this is a lot of fun.
And then I'll just put up your contact information just one last time so people can jot that down. So it's actually been a lot of fun there.
Yeah,
we seem to hit it off right away. If you guys also want to hang around after the show, we'll just chat there for a little bit. But to everybody else, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
My name is Mark David Stallard. Ryan Jans, whose middle name is David, but he doesn't use it even though he should.
Thanks for watching.
Phil. And
hey, thanks for watching and share the video.
And our very special guests, the Secret
share,
Weasels.
subscribe.
Indeed. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you all next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, the invisible man.